Good afternoon. Welcome to Automation Fair. We've had quite a week here. We're on the last day of Automation Fair. We've been talking about a lot of things, covering a lot of topics, but I'm here today to talk about production logistics. My name is Seth Carlson. I'm the commercial manager for AMRs for North America, and with me I have
Michael Leonard. I'm the industry consultant for warehouse and logistics.
And
Angel Hernandez, a global industry consultant for AMRs.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
I know our week has been really full with this production logistic conversation. We've been talking about it ad nauseum to everyone and everyone we can talk to. But I want to, before we even dive further in, I want to talk a little about that word in itself.
Sure.
Michael, lay out what is production logistics?
So think about all of the processes and steps involved in moving material around an operation, from the raw material inbound to the door, through the production process, and then into your finished goods.
Yeah.
Every one of those steps are often done through a lot of different ways, but in many operations, it's done with forklifts, with clipboards, walkie-talkies. And what we're seeing is that this is starting to evolve, and people are starting to look for new ways to drive out productivity and be able to start adding automation into those production logistics operations.
Yeah. And I know we're going to dive into a little bit of all the different pieces of production logistics, but I know one of the things we're hearing a lot from our customers is labor shortages.
Absolutely.
It's a buzzword. You can almost call it a buzzword, but it's said so often. You're like, we have to pay attention to this, right?
Yeah.
We have to address that. And how does that fit into the production logistics message?
Yeah, when you think about what the drivers of investment are in this space, labor is certainly one of them.
Yeah.
And of course, the cost of labor has gone up, but even more so is that availability.
Yes.
Being able to keep labor, being able to find the right people to be working, driving the forklifts, working in the warehouses, moving the material back and forth into the different parts of the system. And so that's one of the drivers, but it's not just that. It's also about flexibility. How do you start looking for new ways to meet customer demand, whether it's changing different types of products, changing where the products are going, direct to the consumer, into a store, or even looking for ways to drive increased throughput. How can I avoid large capital expenses by getting more out of my existing systems that I have today?
Yeah. And Rockwell, we've had a history of solving these problems in different areas. I don't want to necessarily call them siloed, but we can solve this, we can solve this, we can solve this. But now what we're hearing is, how do we take all those and look at it a holistic view, right? Again, maybe a little bit of a buzzword, but at the same time, no, we really want to approach all the things you're talking about in a holistic view. Why, Angel, is that a more effective way to do it?
It's a way to look at the process in a connected way. We are coming up into a challenge and offering a holistic view of all the solutions and what the future can be.
Yeah.
We are future-proofing the solutions that we can provide through different technologies, but most important, we are being able to create plans for the challenges that are coming in the future.
Yeah. Now, let's pivot a little bit. Let's talk about something that I'm passionate about, and I know you guys are, and that's Otto Motors and our AMR acquisition that Rockwell made just over a year ago now, which is a critical, if not one of the critical parts of this production logistics message. Tell me a little bit more about how that fits into that. What does it do? What gap does it fill that we didn't once have?
Well, we talked a little bit about labor shortage, and we want robots to do what they are good at and people to dedicate their time at things that they are really good at. So enabling that flexibility and bringing technology that can help our workforce being more efficient, that's one of the reasons why we have one of the best robotics companies in the world here.
Yeah. And it's not just about moving material from point A to point B. I'm going to go back to the holistic approach. It's about connecting all those different islands of automation together. And Michael, I'd like to ask you a little bit, how does that fit into your industry, warehousing and logistics, right? Which is essentially moving stuff, right? Talk a little about that, AMRs in that space.
Yeah, if you think about automation in the warehouse and logistics space, it's not just the physical automation. You have both the hardware systems as well as the software that sits above it. And so it's important to be able to connect the data flow and the decision making from that high level in order to figure out, how do you best move that process? How do you fill that order? How do you move the material in the right place? And even how do you best lay out that warehouse in the first place? So there's a lot of things around simulation, around being able to look at getting the most out of this new technology and connecting your new investments in storage and retrieval technology with material movement and any other things that you have in your warehouse to best drive the whole end-to-end operation.
I think it's pretty cool that we have a hardware piece now
Yeah.
that merges up really well with our software.
Absolutely.
Merges up really well with our services. Merges up really well with our consulting. All these pieces together to make a nice, tidy solution that we
Yeah.
can offer customers. So now, you and I, all three of us have had conversations this week with customers about this message, and it's like, all right, great. I love what you're saying. I love what you're talking about. I want it. So I'll ask both of you, like, what are the steps that our customers need to take to kind of start going down this journey?
You want me to start?
You go, yeah.
I think that, one of the most important things that you're trying to do is figure out what problem are you trying to solve?
Yeah.
What is your use case? What are the highest priority opportunities that you have in your operation in order to understand where to go after and what to start trying to address? Yeah. If you're just trying to put in technology for technology's sake, you're never going to get the ROI. You're not going to get the return that you expect. And from a process perspective, it's going to be difficult. There's change management involved. The organization has to adopt.
Yeah.
And so I think really starting with that kind of assessment to say, let me look at my operation. Let me see what I need to do. Let me identify what those highest points priority are. Then I can start putting together a plan on how I'm going to start tackling it. And that plan can leverage tools like simulation. I think if you look at that, trying out different ways to test out my system without having to physically install equipment, there's nothing better than simulating your system, looking at it from a whole process, and not just simulating the robot movement, simulating the entire facility and what that's going to impact upstream, downstream, where you can really best make your investment. To me, that's the best way to get started.
I know we've been saying a lot, we talk about the production logistics message as a whole, all these different components, but we're also willing to meet our customers where they're at, right?
Absolutely.
If one of those aspects, whether it's the AMRs or the engineering studies or the software, it's like if someone they're drawn to that, we can start right there. We don't want to say you have to start with this. You can go into one of these spaces and be successful and find ways to improve your material flow throughout the facility, correct?
And we have customers that are at multiple stages in this process, right?
Yeah.
So we try to meet them right where they are, bring new solutions, bring a strategy.
Yeah.
So this happens all the time. We cannot come in always at the same phase, but we meet them right where they are and improve their facilities, their operations with production logistics.
I kind of want to wrap up with this. I get the sense that when we're talking with customer production logistics, it's not like, here's our solution. Thank you very much. Have a good day. There's more to it than that, right? Mm-hmm. Talk a little. Make both of you talk a little bit about the service and support side of this. We're in this for the long haul.
Yeah. I mean, if we're here at Automation Fair. You saw a lot of the great technology that we have that we can bring to solve this problem. From our safety solutions, our motion solutions, things like independent cart that unlock new ways of moving material within equipment or around a facility floor. But I think that services and software piece is critical because you need to be able to look at how to integrate the system together. Putting the robot in by itself is great. Looking at all of the different pieces that come in order to connect that software, connect it with maintenance systems, connect it with production systems, connect it with warehouse management systems.
Yeah.
All of that needs to come together, and being able to walk you through that step, each step of the way, doing some simulation solutions, leveraging that ability to identify business ROI and use cases, that's where our services are able to come in and really help walk customers through that process each step of the way.
Yeah.
It's an integrated solution that we come in and try to help our customers with whatever they are, with the best technology that we can provide.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a holistic package.
Absolutely.
In the truest sense of the word.
There you go.
Right.
If you guys have any questions about our production logistics message or just one of the specific things that we've talked about today, come check us out. We'll be out the expo show floor here for quite a while still. Come see the auto AMRs. I'm biased. I like talking about robots. I like talking about cool things. I know these guys do.
Absolutely.
Do too. So thank you for your time and look forward to seeing you.
Thank you.